to Real People, Real Matters. This is Diana Tulchinsky with my first guest, Silva. Silva, tell me, where did you grow up in the Middle East?
I grew up in a small town. Actually, it was a small, now it's not as small as it used to be, but it's very beautiful summer vacation place. It's in northwest of Syria, right on the Mediterranean coast. It is a historic Armenian town. It's left from Cilician Armenian Kingdom. Majority people used to be Armenians, but right now it's half and half Syrian and Armenians.
Interesting. So, like, how did you like growing up in, like, with the Armenian culture and education in the Middle East?
It was very nice, actually, and we had our Armenian school, Armenian churches, Armenian communities, Armenian scouts, Armenian Relief Society, all kind of organizations in Syria and in Kesap especially.
And then basically, like, what happened with Armenia, like the population? Why did it go to the Middle East? Some went to United States. Like, tell me, like, how the evolution of the Armenian culture.
Okay, Armenians, during the history, actually, they had so many of massacres, genocide, and actually my hometown went through 3 genocides, to be honest with you. One was in 1980, the massacres of Adana hit Kesap also. And then the major genocide through Armenian genocide, 1915. And the last one was actually in 2014 when ISIS took over my hometown. And Armenians actually lived in that area in Syria, northern Syria, for decades. But they still were massacred during the Armenian genocide. And then my grandfather actually used to live in the United States during World War I, and he used to be a veteran of United States. He served the military in the United States, and after the Armenian genocide, he went back to find his family left in Syria. His mother and father were massacred, and he had 4 siblings, brothers and sisters younger than him, left alone in Syria, so he had to stay there. He lived actually in the United States in Philadelphia.
Interesting.
And with group of young people like him. From back home, they went back to find their families, left alone their siblings, so they stayed. They didn't come back to the United States.
And like, did you like feel like freedom at all, like when you were growing up, like in high school, college?
Yes.
Or was it,
Yes. I mean, my education, my life, all my life was in Syria and in Kesap, and we were very free to do whatever we want to do. As I said, we had the scouts, we had our organizations. As long as it's humanitarian, as long as it's not political, you were free.
And where did you get a university education?
I did not get university education because my hometown didn't have one, and my family could not afford to send me out of town.
Oh, okay.
And I did self-education, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yes. As any Armenian family at that time, because my parents were first generation after genocide, it was harder to provide. I grew up in a family of 5 brothers and the only sister, and the girl was very valuable to send out of town. So brothers got the opportunity to go out of town, not the sister.
And then I was just wondering, like, for like Armenian community, like how important it is to have the culture, like the language skills, and then like dances and everything else, like the folk history.
It is very important to preserve our culture because we have very newly formed third independent country in Armenia, which is always attacked again. Even these days, you know, even in 2020, we lost part of our homeland, and we lost a lot of our young soldiers. So for diaspora, not only for Syria or America or Europe or Australia, for diaspora is very important to continue our cultural identity so we can support our homeland. But it doesn't mean that we only support our homeland, we support all the communities where we land in United
Yes.
States, in Australia, in Europe, everywhere.
And then, like, I was just wondering, when did you come to the United States?
In 1990, I was trying to find my grandfather's path, actually,
Oh, wow.
to see where he lived, how the American life was, and I got attracted with the challenge. I always like to challenge myself. As I said, just because I didn't go to university doesn't mean that I
Yes.
didn't educate myself. So when I came to United States, I found, okay, this is the biggest challenge for me. So I took it upon me to learn the language, to learn the culture,
Yes.
to learn the living conditions and life, in general, and accept it as mine,
Oh,
as if I
great.
was,
Yes.
part of this society. So I am ready to take the challenge.
How big is our Armenian community here in the North Shore area?
It is about 500 families, Armenian family, but they are spread all over the Chicago area,
Interesting. And what is the Armenian Relief Society? What is that like considered to be like humanitarian aid for basically anybody in the United States?
Yes, it's a humanitarian aid, especially during disasters or emergency situations, and we provide relief to everybody, regardless of their ethnic background or their religious beliefs, their religious affiliation. We have no discrimination against that.
And how many like families do you serve like around the year, and like what is the starting process?
Now, the way the Armenian Relief Society functions, actually, we provide aid through our regions. Armenian Relief Society has about 29 entities and 220 chapters. In U.S. alone, we have 2 regional in Eastern U.S. and in Western U.S. And our chapter belongs to Eastern U.S., which is based in Massachusetts, so Boston area. So the way we serve families is through our regional. Locally, what we do food drives.
Oh, good.
Every Thanksgiving for food pantries. We do blood drives every April 24th, around April 24th, just to commemorate our victims, genocide victims, by giving blood to save people's life.
And do you have like any personal families that come in and saying that my husband lost his job, I need help?
Very rare. Armenians normally are very proud people.
Yes.
And they don't like to come and ask for help. We have to do our investigations. So that's the only way we find out through, like, let's say, neighbors or through a friend or family member, that if they notify us, yes, we help them.
And do you serve like the underprivileged, like the elderly or
Yes.
younger children?
Yes, we help educational programs also. In educational
great.
programs, we have a week, 1 day a week school, Saturday school in Glenview, so we help them.
Can you tell me about the grade school in the church?
Yes, it's in Glenview in the Armenian All Saints Apostolic Church Center, and it is Saturday school only. They teach Armenian language, Armenian songs, Armenian dances sometimes, just to keep the cultural life alive and to keep the kids close to their culture,
Oh, very nice.
to teach them about their culture.
Yes.
And the
yes.
teachers, I can say most of them are volunteers even.
And then do you also like help people with mental health and assimilation, like the idea of like, you can talk to anybody that is, feeling sick or depressed?
We don't have a full-time office here. We don't have that staff. I think in Western region they have that type of
great.
facilities, but not in Glenview. Our chapter is a small chapter. So, but if we know somebody needs that type of challenging help, we try to provide through friends through channels like mental, to guide them where to go. And
yes.
if they need any kind of financial help, we can help them to seek help through the professionals.
Oh, great.
But we don't have our own office where they can provide that type of counseling or help.
And I was wondering, when did you like start being involved in the Armenian Relief Society?
Oh my God, I was about 16, I think.
Wow.
Yes, because I was a Girl Scout back home. And then I started from there because in Syria, Girl Scouts and Scouts in general are under umbrella of Armenian Relief Society.
Oh, okay.
So that's when I started getting involved in Armenian Relief Society.
Is it part also of the Armenian Church, or is that
Yes.
different? Oh, okay.
See, you have to know that Armenian Church is national church. So because of our situation where we are in diaspora always, church, Armenian Relief Society, or any humanitarian organization or cultural organization, they all work together.
Interesting. And then, do you like have scholarships for high schoolers or for community college?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do, through donors who had established funds. And as long as the applicant meets their standard needs, they can take that grants from that.
And how important it is to like continue like the language here and assimilate back into like American Armenian? Like, do you like ever have like dances or like community like dinners or anything like that?
Yes, we do actually. We do. We encourage cultural life in our organizations during like. We encourage Hamaskayin, which is a cultural association. It's a sister organization in my church. As an organization, every month when we have our meetings, we have lectures.
Yes.
It could be health, about health. It could be about authors or history or about language. So we always start our meetings with a lecture first.
Yes.
It's for all the public, whoever is present in the church hall. And then after that, we have our membership meetings.
And do you have like senior cultural centers, like making sure that your seniors are taken care of and that, you know, they're well provided for and they know recent politics?
We do not have in Glenview, in Illinois, but in other regions, yes, they do. In Western region especially, because there is bigger Armenian community.
Interesting.
They have senior living homes. They have they have daily schools. We do not have in Glenview, unfortunately. In Canada, they have the same thing
great.
also. In Europe, they have. In Middle East, they have, but not in Glenview area.
And have you been back to your town at all, or is
Yes,
that,
actually, I just came back from my
nice.
hometown, like about 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
It's in recovery mode after the last invasion. So
How do you feel about genocide and like seeing like all like that cultural history between Middle East and Eastern Europe, and like how do you feel like you can get pride back?
it is an open wound as long as there is no recognition. And it is an open wound. It's always hurts.
Yes.
Hurts to know it's ongoing still today.
And then do you ever send like do you ever send like emergency relief back to Syria, back to like other like like disaster areas, or even in Ukraine? Like how is that
It is
emergency?
done through our regional, the regional through central. It's not like our chapter alone. Our chapter does their responsibility, whatever the regional asks us to do, and then transfer it to the regional, and the regional is the one who is responsible for transferring it to disaster zones, like, let's say, during the war in Armenia,
Yes.
which is still ongoing, as I said. It goes through our regional also. Regional transfers it to the central, and the central provides help to fallen soldiers' families. orphans.
Orphans, yes.
We have kindergartens,
Mm-hmm.
mother and child clinics in Armenia. We provide all aid for them. And then during the war in Lebanon, there were lots of help for Lebanon until today also because of the economic situation in Lebanon and the war in Syria also. We helped a lot during that war, which is still ongoing, unfortunately.
And what is your title or involvement weekly in the American Armenian Relief Society?
I am the chairperson actually right now in my organization in Glenview, and our chapter is called Armenian ARS Zabel chapter, Chicago ARS Zabel chapter.
And do you have any plans for expanding, like serving more time in the Relief Society, or?
It is 2-year term, and if I can get re-elected, because it's not forever title, or because Armenian Relief Society is a 501c NGO humanitarian organization, and all the work is done voluntarily around the world. It's not only in Glenview or in United States. It's all volunteer work. But still you can serve 2 terms, 2 year each term, and then after that you have to back up and give opportunity to others. My goal as a chair lady right now is to bring as many as young people I can get involved in this organization. Because, yes, the elderlies are our roots, but we need new leaves, green leaves, to survive, to continue. Because we are a humanitarian organization, there are always in need of help, even non-Armenian communities. Like let's say right now, the flood situation in Florida. As Armenian Relief Society, we help there too.
Yes.
In any disaster zone. So if we don't have new generation come and replace the old, it's very hard to continue.
And then I was just wondering, like, what type of cultural activities are you planning for the holidays for this year? What is happening in the church and in the society?
We just had our anniversary actually in September. We had a violinist come and give us a very nice musical event. And of course, guests were very happy. And it was, there are guest speakers also spoke about Armenian Relief Society, our mission, our goal. So, and then we have upcoming Thanksgiving soon. Hopefully, we have not had it for a couple years because of the pandemic. So hopefully we're gonna have a Thanksgiving dinner. And during that dinner is when we do food drive actually for food pantries.
Oh, nice.
To give thanks and give whatever donation we can give to the food pantries for.
And then for the Christmas holidays, do you have your own dinners or banquet halls?
We do as membership.
Membership.
Not like for community.
Oh, okay.
But the other event, the celebration was for the community.
And how do you like the Glenview area, like in general, like, the people, and then
I like it a lot, actually. I like it a lot because there is our community, obviously, right there, Armenian All Saints Community Center on Greenwood Road. And all the sister organizations are involved in that community. And of course, weekly church services. After church service, we have tea hour where you can talk to people, basically understand their needs and, get news about their life, excitements, or even, God forbid, sad news.
Oh, yes, yes. And then just wondering, how did it help you when you came to the United States? Like, how did you find American Relief Society? Their English classes and, their scholarship, even their friendship when you came as, a young immigrant in the 90s?
They were very friendly, very welcoming, actually, very accepting, and very encouraging. So I blended very easy with them, I think.
Oh, nice.
And when I just came actually to United States, at that time there was a relief effort for Armenia because Armenia had gone through the earthquake, devastating earthquake, which wiped out all the Spidak region. So people were coming every night to the church hall, bringing goods and doing fundraisings and helping to send aid to Armenia. So I started helping them there.
So, like, tell me about, like, before the age of Google and Translate, like, how did you learn the English?
I basically bought some dictionaries and sat down and told myself, you either learn the language or you go back home. Because otherwise you cannot survive in a society where you don't speak the language. I couldn't depend only on people who speaks Armenian to translate for me constantly wherever I go or whatever I need to do.
Did they have, like, English, like, ESL classes that you took, or is it just, like, self-growth?
I think I went for 2 classes only.
Wow.
That was it.
That is, like, an awesome thing to do, like, to, like, have self-discipline to, like, know, like, you have to take the language skills.
As I said, I like to challenge myself, and I think that was the biggest challenge to start with, but I was determined. Some people think I'm very stubborn, but I think I'm very determined. I will not accept a stubborn word. I say I'm determined.
And then do you have any advice for, like, high schoolers or, like, even, like, parents that, like, are struggling to keep up with their community activities and then, like, English? Like, how do you survive and, like, thrive in, like, in the United States from the Middle Eastern perspective, from, you know, like, the Armenian Relief Society, like, helping, like, young kids, young families? What is your advice?
I would say, first of all, you have to have a set mind that I will make it. I can do it. There is no can't word. You know, I will do it. I will make it. So once you have that set mind, once you have that set in your mind, you do your best. And you seek help if you can, if you know somebody can help you, don't be embarrassed. Go ask for help. If not the Armenian Relief Society, then there's the church. If not the church, then Armenian Relief Society. Or any organizations, any humanitarian organization will be willing to help that person, as long as you ask for help.
Interesting. And so, like, for young men, for young women, like, what is your advice to stay in school? Like, how do you keep them, you know, like, having a discipline to go to church, go to family cultural events? Like, how do you keep them, like, you know, to keep them in the home and keep them from, like, going outside in the streets or anything like that? What is your tips to keep the family together?
Now, I can only give advice from my family perspective. Obviously, I'm not married, I don't have kids, so I cannot advise parents how to raise their children.
Yes.
But I think the first step comes with love. Love, understanding, and listening. You have to have all these 3 skills in order for your kid to communicate with you. With everything comes to his mind that challenging his life. So if you show that kid a love and respect, you will earn it back. I always say love and respect cannot be bought, cannot be begged for it, and cannot be forced. It cannot. It has to be earned. In order for a child or for a society, for any member in any society, to earn that love and respect, first have to show it, to give it. Because life is give and take.
Ah, very interesting.
So that's what my advice is. So communicate, listen, understand, and then respond.
Thank you, Silva, for this wonderful conversation. It was so informative.
Thank you, Diana, for having me. I'm sorry for giving you hard time in scheduling it.
Yeah.
Thank you for being very
You're
patient
welcome.
with me and understanding. And I would like to take actually this opportunity to thank my board members who are volunteers and they work very hard. And also my organization member, Armenian Relief Society, Zabel chapters members. They are volunteers. They're incredible people. I love them so much, and I would like to thank also the Armenian community who are showing us all the love and respect, continuous love, actually, endless love. Without their support and their love, we couldn't do it alone.
Thank you for watching Real People, Real Matters with Diana Tulchinsky. Please watch us again.